different. And it was a struggle also to get, to be getting, an hour's worth of notes, after making something, in a 4-month period, and just like that. It makes the tolerance dip a bit. But I definitely intend to pursue both the idea of creating new internet ventures and the idea of what's up with Dr. Horrible. So, I would say I'll wait till I have free time, but it's me. So that's not bad.
Well, you're so good at writing the songs, and does Eliza sing? Can she?
Eliza sings in the 3rd episode. Now, not in a musical. She's actually the backup singer of a diva pop star. But Eliza has a beautiful voice, and somewhere out there she's rocking Suddenly Seymour on karaoke.
Well, because the opportunities for her in this role and for this show in particular is that it can be a different character every week, which means you can also create a different kind of show tonally many weeks as well. I noticed that 4th episode that they sent out as a caper episode that then takes a twist, but it didn't feel like the episode I just watched. So does that create more freedom for you as well in this series?
It does. It was part of why we did the series. Was I said to her, you can't be Scully. You can't just do the same thing, look around corners with your brow furrowed, even though, God, Scully looked so good doing it. But, you're going to get bored, you're going to get frustrated. And, so I gave her, what she referred to as an actress's dream, also a bit of a nightmare. Every episode for her is a pilot. Every episode she has to completely rework how she moves and how she talks and really think through a completely new person. And so she's working her ass off. And I think in retrospect she might have gone, wait a minute, that's hard. but it is an exciting opportunity for her and for us. It's hard because you have to create these worlds and make them matter. And not only is it a bunch of guest stars, but your lead is also a guest star. So it's tricky for us, but it does allow us some tonal variation, not as much as the other shows, because ultimately it is all wrapped around in this sort of thriller drama of what's going on in the Dollhouse, and can she get out, can he get in, and all that. But yeah, I'm always going to want to shake it up tonally. There are some scenes that are completely ridiculous. There's light stuff, there's dark, there's adventure, there's horror. If there's not everything, I get bored.
Well, I think we've come to the part of the program where we should probably turn it over to the folks who've been patient, made it into the theater, and so I think there are microphones on each side, so I guess we'll take turns, and like one from column A and one from column B or something, so I guess we'll start.
There's people here?
Hi, Josh, you're my hero. I've watched and follow everything you have done. Tama, you're also kind of amazing. I watched Battlestar just for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You touched upon this briefly already, but I just have to ask, is there any chance that there will be a musical episode of Dollhouse, and Tama, can you sing?
Can I sing?
Yeah.
I so can't sing. I try in the shower in the morning, like most people, when I'm by myself in my house, but I think it sounds like I'm killing a cat or something.
I think what we'll see from Tomo is like sort of use his Muay Thai's agility to do a kind of footloose angry dance.
Footloose angry dance, I love it. I look forward to that.
Hey Joss, it's great to see you for the first time. It's my first time coming here. I had a question for both of you. Joss, I'm a writer. I'm doing screenwriting right now. I was wondering, what do you do to give your characters life and depth? And you seem to do it almost effortlessly. And Toma, so we've heard about the Eliza Dushku Let's Do Lunch. So did you and Joss have a Let's Do a Dinner date?
Cheap date. Cheap date. He called me up. No, I had to call him up from Canada. How much that cost? No, we had a nice dinner last night. You don't get to know the details about that. Sorry, what was the question?
Well,
For me, it's really just, it's everybody matters. That's my only intent, is that everybody matters, and that means, you know, I've said this before, second thug from left. He's there for a reason, he has a life, you don't need to know about it all. People don't all have to speak in too self-aware a fashion, but they all are there for a reason, they all represent something different. And, you know, I think one of my pitfalls is I tend to speechify. Me and Aaron Sorkin, we should get together and speeches. And you know, I love for characters to be able to articulate who they are, but even when they can't, who they are has got to be in conflict with who they're with. And that, if you have that, if nobody is just speaking to set the next person up, then it works.
Okay, I have one for each of you. Hi. Joss, what I love about your work is that you always challenge yourself. You never phone it in, like you do silent, musical, and you know, everything. And like you're always like leaping forward, and it's amazing. And I was wondering, what was the challenge of Dollhouse? And for Tomo, you play like both Kilo and Paul Ballard seem like these incredible characters with these really strong moral compasses. And Kilo is like, he's like way ahead of everyone else morally, basically. And I find myself doing like, what would Kilo do? So is that weird? Is that weird in your own life? Like, do you feel like, oh God, I didn't save anyone from genocide today? Like,
It's not weird, it's great. It's just, you know, it's amazing to have been able to play such, you know, such a strong character. And, you know, there's similarities between the two. There are similarities. But, you know, the sense of right and wrong, I mean, they share that. But, you know, what was really interesting for me about Paul is that he's very much alone. He operates by himself, and he chooses to. And I'm curious about why that is the case. What happened to him in the past? What has he gone through that makes him so mistrusting? And you know,
it's because he lit Baltar on Galactica.
You saved your kid from being untimely aborted. That was all Baltar.
That's true,
right? That was the big back. That was the big back. James and I talked about that when we finally had. That was the first scene that we had together since that part. In season 2 of Dollhouse, Paul's gonna wake up from a nightmare and spaceman, he was Hilo, he was sleeping on a robot. Yeah,
What's Hilo do? Answer, Grace Mark.
Do you want to talk about?
I do, I want to talk about Hilo.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry, what was the question again?
You know, like just leaping forward challenges.
Leaping
How does that work with Dollhouse?
For me, honestly, the leap was Dollhouse. It was creating a show that frightens me, that isn't, for me, an absolute sort of plea for the audience to love me and agree with me. I am very pathetic and desperate in my need for the audience's love. This is good. Not for me, exactly, but for what's going on screen. And I don't actually think somebody said fuck you. I figured that afterwards. But Dollhouse was something that, you know, is so morally tricky that I expect there to be a certain amount of backlash and a certain amount of disappointment, especially because, you know, I'm a feminist and I've been pretty vocal about that. This is a show that can be read two ways. It can be read as a woman's, you know, fight for her identity, and it can be read, as it has by some people, as, you know, just a misogynist fantasy. And I'm doing that deliberately. I'm scared witless by how people are going to react to everything we're doing. But I've generally found that if I am terrified,